It's amazing to me how hard that is for so many people. Welcome to Training Daily, where we are constantly in pursuit of a healthy and disciplined lifestyle. Today I want to talk to you about two ideas that are initially going to sound like contradictions, but then I'm going to bridge the gap and try to make a case for why we need both these two concepts in our every week training plan. The two topics are change and consistency. Change and consistency. Change first. One of my main jobs as a trainer is to constantly change the program for my clients in order to challenge them, because that change and challenge is what will produce stress and adaptations, and that's how we get healthier. So a lot of times I'll talk to members, non-clients, and that we talk about their exercise plan, and they just look at me like, Hans, I'm kind of been doing the same thing for, a few months, maybe 6 months, sometimes even up to a year. And my biggest contribution to their health and fitness is saying, let me see what you're doing so I can change it up. It's amazing to me how hard that is for so many people to do. And so with my personal training clients, they're a little bit more consistent, but they still kind of feel like they're very regimented. They feel like they have a routine that they really like. And even with a regular personal training client, they still do things very meticulously, and I still need to find ways to challenge them. For example, everybody does a push-up, everybody does a squat. Well, what if you did that push-up on an elevated surface? What if you did a squat on a Bosu ball upside down? And I try to throw these changes and challenges at them in order to elicit a different stress, which is going to keep the challenge high, which is going to help them improve their overall health. It's one of my biggest jobs as a trainer is to challenge and change up the program for the clients. It often starts here in the weight room. People are really used to doing, what they read about in magazines, 10 reps and 3 sets, same exercises, same weights, same reps and sets for weeks, months, half or full years at a time. And so this is where it's actually easiest for me to come in and say, let's take your 10 reps and 3 sets, and I want you to just go a little bit down in weight, but then take those reps from 10 to 18. Just that change is enough to elicit changes in the muscular system where a new adaptation is required because it's a new stress. And so the weight room is one of the easiest ways to change up what you're doing. Make the weights go up and make the reps go down. Or, as I said earlier, make the weight go down and the reps go up. Take the same exercises, do that. That's step one for making changes. The other way is just to find a different way to do those same exercises. Instead of a flat bench, you come over and you grab dumbbells instead. Don't take a 100-pound bench press and break it up into 2 50-pound dumbbells. Think that through, but change up from, for example, a flat bench to a dumbbell bench press. This is the best place. Everybody is not spending time in the gym. The best place people are not getting the benefits that they should is in the weight room. But once you're in the weight room for a few weeks, a few months, make sure you switch things up a little bit. Now, when I'm talking about changing things up, I'm really talking about the short term. What do I mean by that? Short-term changes of 6 to 8 weeks, even a couple or 3 months at a time of changing things up in regards to exercise, health, and fitness, that really is short term, right? We're in pursuit of a healthy and disciplined lifestyle, life. lifestyle, long term. Changing things up is just something we do for the short term. What do we do for the long term? That's where the consistency part comes in. There's a fascinating study I just heard about from Stanford where they talked about two different diets, and I won't even go into which diets they are, but they had two different diets, and I believe they had even a control group, and they said people's success didn't depend on which diet they chose. Their success came from whether or not they stuck to the said diet. You know, I really want to encourage you to think about, what does it mean for me to be consistent in something? What does it mean for me to put a plan together? It needs to be scientific. It needs to be research based. It needs to have, you know, certain principles in place. But what does it mean to put a plan together and stick for it for 4 months, 6 months, 8 months or so, and do something that you've never, you know, challenge yourself in a new way, get to a new level of consistency that you've never been to before. Changing things up in the short term, when you compare it to something like being consistent in the long term, in my opinion, that's the easy part. Changing things up on the short term, that's easier to do, at least from a trainer's perspective. Doing something consistent long term, that's where it starts to get to be a big challenge. Change and challenge versus being consistent. How do we bridge the two of those? This area behind me is where I spend most of my time as a trainer. It's kind of our interval area, med balls, BOSU balls, TRX, kettlebells. It's where I spend a vast majority of my time. It's the easiest place for me to challenge myself, and at the same time, it's where I can find the most consistency. If I'm going to get a workout in, this is where I default to, is doing interval workouts. When you start to think about what does it mean to constantly challenge myself, constantly be willing to change what I've been doing for so long, and at the same time mix that with being consistent over the long term, sometimes it's hiring a trainer that allows that to happen. So we've got these two concepts, challenge and change versus consistency. Short term, challenge and change. Long term, being consistent. We know about short term goals. We know about long term goals. How do we bridge those two? How do we make the two of those principles work well for our health and fitness? Sometimes it's hiring a trainer like myself. Sometimes it's just doing a little bit of research on the internet. And sometimes it's a matter of just putting a plan together on what we know and saying, you know, using trial and error to say, let me try this for a few weeks and see if it works. I always want to be a resource to you guys. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know. But for today, I just want to give you those two ideas. So this isn't a sales pitch. I'm not trying to say that. I just want to be a resource to you. And so think about your short-term goals. Think about, I've used the word audit. Audit what you've done over the last few months, maybe years, and think about a way to challenge yourself and change it. But then also think, what is my plan in the long term? 2018 is still really just starting. End of April, plenty of time left. What does it mean to put a plan together for not only all of 2018, but also 2019? Guys, I'm telling you, the lifestyle thing is a super big challenge, but you never regret the investment that you make into your health. So take a look at the challenge and the change. Take a look at the long-term consistency. Tell me what you come up with. As always, if there's anything I can do, please feel free to comment below, hit me up on social media somewhere, and I'd be happy to start a discussion. A handful of you have already started that, and it's been fun to start new discussions around my favorite area. Hey, we're always in pursuit of a healthy and disciplined lifestyle. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.